If you don't know me, I'm Chris Millard from the Barmy Army. As many of you will be familiar with now, the Barmy Army meets in partnership with Opening Up. Opening Up promotes mental well-being and suicide prevention through cricket. They deliver sessions with clubs and offer online resources with a focus on positive mental health. Since 2014, they've been saying it's not weak to speak, to encourage conversation on what is such an important topic. Be sure to check them out on social media or at openingup.com. A huge thank you once again to all of our members who are key workers, from the NHS frontline staff to the shelf stackers in the supermarkets. You're keeping the country running, and I want to say a huge thank you from the Barmy Army. If you haven't managed to catch up with our latest episodes of Barmy Army Meets already, then be sure to check them out. The past 5 weeks have brought us Mark Wood, Sam Curran, Liam Plunkett, Joe Denley and Chris Wokes. Around 4 hours of viewing in total, so that should keep you entertained over the bank holiday weekend. Without further ado, I'd like to give a warm, balmy welcome to England's South Africa tour hero, Dom Bess. Bessie, how are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Keeping well. So yeah, all good.
Keeping well. I'm glad to hear you're keeping well. Have you been training hard in lockdown and isolation?
Yeah, I've been getting in my gym and running. Not much bowling, which is probably a little bit of a blessing in disguise for me. But no, it's been good, mate. It's glad to have some good weather back as well. And yeah, just staying quiet.
I think we all are, mate, at the minute. But this is the second piece of media that we've done with you, Dom, since lockdown. And since we did that first piece of media, which was the Shackles Are Off podcast, of course, we've become the #1 podcast in the UK for cricket. And Norway, for some reason. Must be down to the episode we did with you, right?
Nah, definitely not with me. It was probably the one with Crawley last week. I thoroughly enjoyed that one, and actually the one with Jaskothic as well. That was quite an entertaining podcast. So I think there's a lot better people out there than me.
Oh no, we loved it. We absolutely loved it. If you haven't checked out the Shackles Are Off yet, make sure you do in all your normal podcast places. Just go to the top of the charts and you'll find us there, for now anyway. So we're aiming to get as many members' questions answered as possible. So please comment on the live stream. I can see there's already 3 questions in, and we've already had some submitted. So we're going to get straight to it. I'm going to ask the first question, as I always do. What was it like hearing your song for the first time in PE?
Yeah, class. It was, fortunately enough, I was always down at fine leg. So, and I think by the end of it, I started just running straight down to fine leg wherever the Barmy Army were. But yeah, no, I absolutely loved it. I think one thing is you always know about the Barmy Army. You always hear about them growing up. And certainly if you go to test matches, you hear them and see them. And then being out there and playing, and then actually them singing your own song is a bit surreal. I certainly enjoyed it. I know Woody certainly enjoyed it while we were out in the middle. So no, it was good. Yeah, I love it.
It was class. It was one of my lasting moments from that tour, actually. Adam, who works for us, who also came up with your song, he wondered how long it took you to pick the words up.
Yeah, not long, to be honest, especially the last little bit. But it was quite funny because I know some people were, there was a rumour going around that I don't drink. I literally don't know where that's come from. I mean, I try and drink. I wouldn't say I'm the best at drinking. I certainly sort of try and keep up, but no, I do drink. So that rumour can be put to bed.
No, good. I was actually going to ask you about it because there was a rumour going around the camp, but we didn't believe it. So I'm glad you've confirmed that it's not true. Now, Did you you just mentioned that Woody was loving your song. Did you notice all straight away, like the rest of the camp, the rest of the team loved it, that you had a song and you were part of it?
Yeah, I think Butler certainly enjoyed it as well. But I think it's just quite cool to have a song. And I'm obviously fortunate that it is a really good song and it's obviously quite easy to sing to. So hopefully more people can sing it, and hopefully I can sort of get out there and keep playing for England and try and keep pushing the test side, and hopefully I can hear it a little bit more.
Good man. Now, it's good to hear. Now, we're going to ask a couple of questions from the live stream straight away, then get back to the ones that have been submitted. Now, Judah has asked you, does he have any tips for young players coming through the ranks?
Yeah, I think first one is you've got to enjoy it. I think if you're not enjoying cricket, it can be quite a. Firstly, it is a frustrating sport, and I think that's something that I've certainly learned probably through my short career so far. Is you've got to enjoy it. You've got to make sure you remember memories with some of your best mates as well, and new mates that you come across. And I know I've been very fortunate to sort of come across quite a few blokes now and say they're very good friends of mine. So the big thing for me is really enjoying your cricket. And I know a lot of people do say that, and it's quite an easy thing to say, but I think it's so crucial. I think the more you do enjoy your cricket, obviously the more you're going to turn up, and probably the more you're going to get out of it. And there's times where I probably should enjoy it a little bit more than I do. But certainly these sort of situations now really make you miss it. I know probably the fans are missing it, but more the players than anything. I miss being around the team environment, being around my mates. I wouldn't say it's a job at all, really. We're very lucky to do it.
Fantastic answer. Now, Dan Fewster's asked, what's your favourite type of delivery to bowl?
Wow. I'm to be honest, I'm happy when it comes out. When it just comes out, it spins and turns usually, and if it lands on a pretty good spot, to be honest. I think I've tried a couple of different balls during training, and I do really enjoy. I've got this sort of flicker that I bowl. One sort of goes the other way out the front of my hand. If I get that right, I know that's quite good fun to bowl. But I haven't really tried it in the game yet. It's more training. I'm still practicing on it. But yeah, if anything, if I can get that right in a couple of years, it could be quite a dangerous ball. And if I get a pole with it, I think it'll probably be my profile picture.
Does it take some courage to try a delivery like that in a game?
I think for me it does anyway. I think I haven't really had times where we're 500 for two and I can try something, but I think if that's in fact, I remember a game where I got absolutely panned. It was in Dubai for the MCC last year against Surrey. I think Popey got a double 100, Jamie Smith got 100.
Yeah.
And we were playing with Broady, and Trigo was involved, Abel, Will Rhodes. So Rhodes was there. And honestly, it was the flattest thing ever in Dubai. And Popey just started taking me down, and I was thinking, it's probably worth time just bowling it. And I remember it going even further. I was like, I had to put it away and just try and bowl at Popey when he was on for it as well. Yeah.
Yeah, good answer. Now, Russell Bess has asked, why?
That's never good.
Reeve, why are you known as Fauntleroy at home?
Yeah, probably because I knew Dad would probably sign in here. He's, I think it speaks for itself, really. I usually boss people around, and I wasn't really doing the dishes back in the day, but obviously now I've moved away. I've got my own. I have to do everything myself. So, yeah, thanks for that, Dad.
Great answer. And while we're on that theme of questioning, we've got a member called Jack Brooks who's also, I believe, your housemate, and he's asked, is there any chance you can put the rent down?
Not for him. Not when he's getting 2 bedrooms upstairs. I've got to keep him. He's actually lucky that he's in he's probably in my house. I don't think anyone would take him in. I think he's that weird that he's actually very lucky that he's got 2 rooms upstairs.
Great answer. We'll relay that to him. Now, Maria Hussein has asked a question saying, Moeen Ali has said that he feels ready to return to playing Test cricket again. Does that make you more driven to really secure and nail down your place in the side?
I think it's a really good question, actually. I think Mo coming back, let's be honest, Mo is quality. Gun-off spinner. And we know what he can do with the bat. He's obviously scored 6 test hundreds. He's a proper all-rounder. And I think him coming back in, or him wanting to play again, is only going to drive standards up. It's probably going to be harder for me. We don't know what England are thinking, or I certainly don't know what England are thinking at the time. And also for me, I'm seeing it as a great positive in the fact that if I do get a chance to be with Mo within a squad, it's going to be an unbelievable experience for me to actually learn off him. I've sort of been around him once or twice. I had a bowl with him, I remember, at Warwickshire. And he's such a chilled, laid-back character that I think actually it worked really well. Mate, he's a quality bowler, and I think it's only good for myself that he obviously wants to play cricket again. Oh, he wants to play Test cricket, and also it's great for England. Making sure we get the strongest players out on the pitch, I think, is number one. And if anything, it's going to drive my standards. It's going to drive Leachy's standards. It's only a good thing, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Good thing for the side. Now, Tiny and Soph, who are regular tourists with the Barmy Army, have asked, this is from Sophie, have you still got the Barmy Army bucket hat from the merch tent that you bought in South Africa, or did you give it to Rory Burns?
No, I've still got it. I know Burns, I texted him actually saying that he would get it. It's upstairs. Myself and Parky have still got them, and we're actually very fond of them. So I know I've been out running a couple of times with it on. So no, that will probably stay with me, and we might have to get Burnsy another one.
Excellent. I'm sure I know someone that can sort that out. Now, Lisa Brinker has asked you, if you could have a Zoom meeting with any cricket legends, who would it be? Great question.
Any cricket legends, that is a good one. I think, well, being a Badger and being an off spinner, I think Swanee probably would be in there. I think I would like to chat to someone like Virat Kohli, just out the knowledge of what he's got. I think that would be really, really interesting.
Yeah. He'd probably charge you for the Zoom.
Yeah, he probably would. Do you know what? I probably wouldn't have enough cash either at all. Probably be a minute or so. Do you know what? I think I've spoken to him for a while, but someone like Azhar Ali as well. I really enjoy Az, and I haven't actually spoken to him for a while. I think he's a great man to have. So it's quite a general one. Probably there were a few legends out there, but certainly Az is a good man to chat to.
Brilliant. No, good to hear. Now, who's your best mate in the England dressing room, and who are the entertainers in the team?
Well, the entertainers in the team are, I think, pretty obvious. Obviously, you got the likes of Woody, who is very, very funny. I think in general, everyone's quite entertaining. I think, like, for the youngsters, I really enjoy Crawley. I think he's everyone really enjoys him, and I think if you haven't seen the podcast with him, he is certainly the oldest 22-year-old you'll come across, and he's very gullible, which I enjoy as well. And people try and get one over on him, so I certainly enjoy him. I think the closest and probably ones that I attach to is probably Parky. Myself and Parky get on really well.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've always grown up together, playing against each other, and I think it was great for me to come in and know that he was there. It was almost Tweedledee and Tweedledum at times. Certainly Phil Scott, the S&C, knew that.
Very good. Now, how have you managed your friendly competition for your England players with Leachy?
Yeah. Do you know what we do? The good thing is we're best mates off the field, and that really helps. And I think that the main thing with that is actually we make sure our friendship is number one, and then we compete against each other. I think we're both obviously very respectful of each other, and it is usually if one's having sort of a negative sort of time on within the game, it's usually the other's positive, or usually the other one's going quite well. So we've got to manage it quite well, and I think we do. I think, again, like I said, we're really respectful of each other, and actually we try and compete and help each other get better. And I think there's a reason why we're both in and around the England side is the fact that we do compete against each other, but also help each other in that sort of way. It never goes too far, and I think we get a real good balance. We compete against each other. We're very truthful with each other when we're trying to bowl and get better, but then off the field, we do chat a lot about spin and a lot about what we can do. But on the other side as well, we've got a lot of things outside cricket, and usually it is ended up drinking a lot of coffee.
Good. There's a good coffee culture in the England side. We had Welksy on last week showing us what coffee he was on at the minute. So it sounds like
Yeah.
you've got a good thing going. Now, Adam Hickey has asked, what's the biggest challenge when transitioning from county cricket to international cricket?
It's for me. It's the obvious is obviously the top 6, 7 batters are probably the best batters in the country at that time. If you look at the England side, we bat. I think we do really bat right down to the end, and that's a real strength of ours. And certainly around the other countries, you've got that real depth, and then obviously the quality in the bowling. But the thing that I really find is the external factors of the game, the crowds, obviously the TV, the commentary with that, the scrutiny that comes with it as well. There's a lot of people who put their own 50p in, which is quite entertaining at times. But I would certainly say sort of the external factors. Obviously, the quality is going to be better because you are playing international cricket. But it is certainly the crowds you go to, obviously the stadiums, and sort of the treatment as well. It certainly is a bubble that you can get used to, and you probably shouldn't get used to, because when you do come out of it, you actually realise how lucky you are.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of coaching staff nowadays, isn't there, with the England?
Yeah, so, plenty.
Very good. Now, Ned Holmes has asked, what are your favourite 5 grounds that you've played at? Favourite 5 grounds that you've played at?
Yeah, so I think Cape Town. I think Lord's #1. Cape Town's up there. That's unbelievable. I've always really enjoyed playing at Old Trafford.
Yeah,
that's a good ground. And then I'm going to go quite controversial. So my home club down in Devon called Sidmouth is very scenic. It's right on the beach. It's got a thatch roof. It's somewhere very special to me. So that's also up there. And then I also really enjoyed Adelaide. So I went to Adelaide. I've never played there, but I went to Adelaide for 2 years, my overseas. And that's always a ground I really want to play at. I was fortunate enough to play at MCG, but I probably prefer Adelaide's ground. And hopefully, come Ashes, I can sort of put my name in the hat. I know it's 2 years. Oh, it's not far away actually, but
18 months. Yeah,
that's somewhere. Yeah, that's somewhere I'd love to play.
Yeah, great. Have you? Who were you playing for over in Australia?
I was playing for West Torrens, club side down in Adelaide. I played for them for 1 year. And before that, when I was on the Darren Lehman Academy, which quite a few lads have been on, I was playing at Northern District. So with Mark Cosgrove, Joe Gatting, I was with those two. I played with Sarah Taylor. That was the year she played. Who else? Graham Clark from Durham. So we actually had quite a good side. But when we played at when I played at West Orange, we won all 3 flags, and it was a very good year. Callum Ferguson played. Kane Richardson played, so it was a really enjoyable year actually. Yeah.
Did you enjoy bowling in Australia? Did you think it suited you?
Yeah, I personally quite enjoyed it. It makes me laugh because obviously grade cricket, you always take a hammering. Yeah. They always look to sort of get stuck into you, and personally, I don't think the Aussie grade cricketers play spin well at all. They either try and whack you out of the park or just block you and defend you. And I quite enjoyed that because I certainly all the abuse I got when I was batting, I just tried to get stuck back into. Well, tried to give them quite a bit of stick, get stuck into them. So, and I know certainly my teammates enjoyed it, which was quite good fun. And I know once you've got sort of your 10 other lads behind you, it's quite good fun.
Very good answer. Now we've got an interesting question here. Saying, they think you're the one that has always got the headphones on. What music are you always listening to?
Do you know what? Funny enough, I listen to quite a few podcasts, more cricket and rugby podcasts. So if it is, it's probably going to be that. I'm pretty generic with my music and pretty standard with the UK top 40. I'm not really into certain things. I'm quite generic with it all.
Very good. Now, who was your cricketing idol growing up? We've had 2 people that have asked the same question, so we'll merge it into one. Who was your cricketing idol growing up?
Yeah, so I think being down here, Trez was always quite a big one. Obviously, he played for England. England legend, I think. Everyone, he's out. If you ever meet him, you'll understand why. He's such a good bloke, and I think being down here, he was always the big dog going round. And then I grew up a lot when Graham Swan was playing, so
Yeah.
I watched a lot of Swanee Bowl, and just more how he went about it. It always interests me, and he was obviously a quality player.
Yeah.
And I always really enjoyed then actually when I was growing up a little bit more, and I'm very fortunate to like play with them now. But people like Jimmy Broady, I know they're seam bowlers and things like that, but it was very special going into a change room when you had those two, the likes of Rooty, Stokesy playing, and it certainly did sort of give me a bit of sort of stage fright going in because I was a bit starstruck. But I think the big ones were obviously Trez and Swanee. But then, sort of as I was growing up, seeing these guys play, and then going into a changing room, they certainly are my role models now. How they go about things is quality.
You mentioned that, and we've had a lot of players mention that. We spoke to Zach and Sibley, and it's really interesting. How do you feel walking in and meeting the cricket legends that have been in the game for so long, like Broady and Jimmy? What's that moment like when you meet them, but you're in the same team?
Yeah, I remember just trying to like sort of go under the radar and just be myself really. And actually, once you get into that, you just know they are normal blokes, and how that I think how this culture and how probably the last 18 months have gone, and to allow the youngsters come through really shows the team culture. And I know I've said it a couple of times. I know lads always say it, but it's true. Like the culture that they brought in, and now we're now building as a big squad. I think it's only going to drive success because I think youngsters can come in and play and succeed, and we can also learn off obviously the older lads and the more experienced guys, and also see how they went about it. I think you take Cape Town Test match, the likes of me, Crawley, Sibbs, even Sam Curran Jr. was there. Knowing how they go about it and how we win, say a 5-day Test match, is key. And how I like little things like Jimmy coming up to me, making sure that I keep bowling my best ball and I keep making sure it's got enough on it. I know Stokesy was telling me it's slip, and Joss was making sure that I was getting enough on it. And having that experience is so crucial, and that's only going to develop my game. And I think certainly who we've got within the side and the players around it, we're only going to go strength to strength really within the squad and the players.
Yeah, brilliant. And we were talking to Crawley earlier last week, as you heard on the podcast, and he mentioned a moment when you got into the slip cordon when we were going for that last wicket in Cape Town, about how you didn't really love being in the slips. Is that?
Mate. Oh God, I was at point, and they were like, oh, we need another. They were like, slip, and they just obviously I'm an all right fielder, so they were like, oh, Bessie will be able to catch, and I went in there, and I swear to God, so that summer I was playing twos, and I was in the slips with a lad called Ben Green from Somerset and Steve Davis.
Yeah.
Obviously played a bit for England. And we were at Warwickshire, and we dropped everything. Like, we dropped everything. And this is in twos. And like, I remember Greener getting one, and he clanged one, and he's been in slips for a bit. And he's a very good mate of mine. And I was in slips, and I next ball got one, and literally it hit me in the knee. And we just burst out laughing. Like, it was that bad. Like, obviously the seamers were fuming in the twos.
Yeah.
But Steve Davis was laughing so hard at me. And it got to the point where literally we dropped about 4 or 5. And I remember going to this Test match, mate, and I was running to the slip cordon at 4th slip, 2 wickets to win. And I was like, the last time I was in the slips, I was playing in the twos, and I was clanging them for fun. And I hadn't trained anything. And I remember going to Crawley like, mate, I can't be in here. Like, I genuinely can't be in it. And like I think Denners was either at short leg and stuff. And I was like, mate, do you fancy it? And Denners was like, no, absolutely not. Like, I was like, oh my God. And I remember saying, Popey was at gully, Creeps was to my left, and then Sibbers, and then I think Rooty. And Jimmy was at that leg slip, and Jimmy and Broady are never going to do it. And Denley was at leg slip. So I was like, and Sammy was never going to do it. And I was just like, oh my God, like, I said to the boys, I said, if it comes, it's going to hit me. It's going to hit me, and you're going to have to try and catch it off me. And I kid you not, that next ball, I didn't even see it. Crawley's like punched it up in the air, and I was like, and then as soon as I remember it, it was like slow mo. It was going into his hand. There was a split second. I was like, oh, I could dive and take this, and it could be mine. I was like, I could grab this one, and it could be the specky. But I left it to creeps, and then it was absolute scenes. But I honestly had never been so nervous for that, and the fact that I was running to it, and I still remember being in the second team that summer and clanging them for fun. I was petrified.
Great story. That's a really good story. Now, why didn't you take it off Crawley when he punched it up? I thought it was there for you to whip it off him.
Yeah, it was. It certainly was. But mate, if I dropped that, I reckon I'd been out the side. Wouldn't have seen Port Elizabeth. I'd have been probably on the next plane home. No. Do you know what? I just saw it, and I saw his he's got massive hands. If you ever meet him, he's got such big hands, and it was always going to go in. Yeah. Leave it to him. I'm just gutted that I didn't jump on him and celebrate. I think I ended up running to Stokesy, but it was a mad 40 minutes that.
No, it was a crazy test match, wasn't it? Now, Matthew Jones has asked on the live stream, looking ahead to the India tour, if it goes ahead, are you looking forward to bowling in tandem for long periods of time with Leachy and Parkinson?
Well, firstly, I've got to get on that tour, and that's how I look at it. But if I do get picked, we were so excited to bowl with each other in Sri Lanka, and actually it would have been really special. I know we played that practice game and it did get called off by the end, but
yeah,
obviously I've played a lot with Leachy now, and I really enjoy bowling with him. And it's been quite a while actually bowling together from either end, and I would really enjoy that. And then to also have Parky I've grown up and played against would make it even more special. And it would be his sort of test debut as well. It was going to be hopefully his test debut in Sri Lanka, and that would have been really special because I know he's been through a lot, and being really close to him, I know how much it would mean to him. So hopefully, fingers crossed, firstly, we all obviously get out to India. Hopefully it goes ahead, to be honest. You never know this situation, but I think it would be an amazing opportunity. And again, especially with the likes of players within that Indian side, it would be a great challenge and hopefully a great achievement if we could go over there and win.
Have you played in India much before?
No, I've only done, I've done a couple of training camps. In fact, I've done one training camp. No, that's a lie because I went to Lion. I went on a Lions trip last year down there. So I've only been twice, one training camp and one tour, and it was actually a really tough tour. We lost 4-1 in the ODIs and we lost 1-0 in the test matches, the unofficial test match. We had a really strong side, but again, they also had a phenomenal side. The likes of Rahane, Pant, a lot of their sort of IPL boys were playing, but the good thing, it was a great test, and actually we're not that far off at all. I think going back out there, I certainly learned a lot being out there. That on the year before, when we had the likes of Billings, Steve Mulaney, Popey, Jamie. We had a lot of players, a lot of very skillful players, and actually to get turned over like that shows how tough it is to play out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's all hope it goes ahead. Now, we've had another question asked by Russell Bess. I'm going to do you a favour and not read it out. But
leave it.
He's got a brilliant profile picture on YouTube of himself wearing a crown and a cape. It's a top man, Russell. Now, the next question is from Tom Haig, who's a regular Barmy Army tourist. What's the best wicket that you've taken in your career?
Best wicket? The one that I sort of probably put right up there is actually when we played Kumar Sangakkara against Surrey. And I got him, and I remember that summer he was belting it everywhere. But yeah, I got him, and I think that's something that I always keep very, very. It was very rewarding actually getting someone like him. But last year, probably the best ball I bowled was last year against Hampshire. I got Ian Holland out playing for Yorkshire, one that probably actually hit a foothole and spun a little bit, went through the gate. So that's probably my best delivery I've bowled. But certainly, probably one of the best players was Kumar that I got out.
Yeah, good wicket. Very good wicket. You got any other big names out?
Oh, I like to say that I got Trez out a couple of times in the nets. That's always enjoyable. I always really enjoy it. I really did. But I used to bowl a lot at Trez because, again, even when he was 40 odd, he was always in the nets. And I did a lot of bowling at him. And we always used to have some very funny competitions with it all. So as soon as when I got it, I think I've got him out a couple of times, 3 or 4 times, but I made sure I really shouted. I remember running around celebrating. We're in the middle of the Taunton. No one was there. It was just Trez. I think he left one like second last ball we were going to practice. And I just ran off celebrating. He was waiting for the last ball to be bowled.
Quality. Very good. Now, did you play any other sports as a kid? That question was submitted to the before this show.
Yeah, I played a lot of rugby when I was younger. I grew up actually playing a lot of rugby, and probably that was my favourite sport, probably my number one. And sort of as I grew up, I probably wasn't as good as I was sort of with the cricket, so I sort of stuck with the cricket. But I played right up until I was 18. My rugby from a school. And it was at one of the private schools, so it was usually quite a good standard. And I always really enjoyed it playing with some of my one of my closest mates from school, and we were always half decent. So yeah, it was really enjoyable. Got my family, so my dad and his two brothers played for Exeter and Bath, respectively. So yeah, we've got quite a nice little rugby background.
Fantastic. So you're not the best in the football warm-ups then when they used to happen.
No, I had my good days and my bad days, but my good days were very limited. And certainly with the England boys, they are good and they put you under the pump. So I always used to yip quite badly with it. And obviously it's now gone to like a game of flicks, or we call it a game of arse. So obviously just heading the ball around, and it's either myself or Parkinson that gets targeted quite a bit. I know in South Africa, Parky got nailed a lot of the time, which was quite entertaining. And then in Sri Lanka, boys started going after me, which was quite funny.
Very good. Now, Gary has asked on the live stream, what's the best piece of memorabilia behind you? What have we got behind you?
Oh, so we got a couple of shirts. So I've actually got I've got my first sort of Lion shirt that I had, and my first sort of like 4-day game against West Indies, but sort of my most memorable stuff is probably up in my bedroom. I've got my first Test shirt against Pakistan with the stump as well, which was obviously very, very fitting. And then, fortunate enough, I've obviously got the Fifer ball in my little cabinet that I've got here. I put all my Fifer balls in there, so that's probably my most valuable one. But yeah, if my house was burning down, I reckon it would be my Test cap, and then trying to grab hold of that frame running outside.
Now, Harry Cracknell has actually asked a question about that Fifer. What was it like taking a Test Fifer?
Yeah, it was a dream come true, to be honest. And I'm actually looking back, I was gutted that I didn't sort of take more, being a bit greedy. But I know I was on 5, and obviously it was the 5 batters out at the time, and I was thinking, God, I could really try and get a big one. But I think, yeah, I was on 4 for ages as well, and I was like, I don't think I'm going to get it. Like, I know one came really quickly to Rooty at slip and dropped it, and I was like, oh my God, like I started panicking a little bit, like chasing it. And I remember going down to fine leg, and GM Patel, this bowling coach, was like, don't you dare chase it now. Like, just make sure you keep bowling your lines and lengths, like it will come. And yeah, very fortunate enough, it did come. And yeah, it was an amazing achievement. Like, I actually thought he was going to cut it before, and he inside edged it onto his stumps, and I just ran off like a bit of a loony. But yeah, it certainly meant so much.
Did you have a little word with Rooty as well, telling him to not chase it, just as he was going for his Fifer?
Mate, I thought, do you know what? It would have been cool if he got it, and he was bowling so well. I was just more keen to take poles and get off that pitch as soon as possible, because it did get to the point as well where it dragged on quite a bit last wicket, and they held out quite well. But Mate, he's captain. Do what he wants.
Well, we have just done a podcast with Rooty that will be out next week, and we did ask him that question, saying what was it like to take the new ball, and we asked him if he'd get the opportunity to take a Test 5 for him again, and his reply was, "Well, I'm the captain." So
Exactly. There you go.
now moving on to the next question: if you could have dinner with any former 3 England players, who would it be and why? That's from Sam Ellard.
Was that, sorry, former England players?
Former England players, yeah, that's right.
Former England players. I think quite a good one, that. I think someone like I haven't met him obviously properly, but someone like Kevin Peterson I think would be quite interesting.
Yeah.
I think Phil Tufnell would be quite entertaining.
Yeah.
Someone like that. And do you know what? I really enjoyed getting to know a little bit of Darren Goffey. I think he was. I went on the Darren Lehman Academy actually with his sons, and he came out. I remember him coming out and meeting him then, and I wouldn't have been sort of anybody who wouldn't have known who I was. And I played against his son for quite a bit growing up. And then sort of getting to know him within the England side, he makes me laugh so much. And obviously Crawley's got some funny stories with him, but I think he would certainly be up there as well. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a top bloke, a real character. Now, I'm going to ask you a question here about one of your Somerset teammates. We've had it asked, how good is Tom Banton?
Yeah, he is. He's a bit of a freak, to be honest. He makes me laugh so much. He's one of my good mates, obviously down at the club, and we've got quite a good couple of youngsters down here and good group. And the way he went about it last year was ridiculous, but also it wasn't a big surprise for us down here. We know and we knew what he was doing in the second team because we were playing with him, and he was taking blokes down for fun. And it was only going to be a matter of time. Just before his whole first team debut and everything, we played a twos game at Middlesex, and he got 160, I reckon, 170, and was just like taking people like ridiculous. I remember Ethan Bamber were bowling, and he was just reverse sweeping him off a length, and they put deep point out, and then he reverse swept one over extra cover for 6 next ball, and they by the end they had deep extra cover, deep point, and then they also had to bring another man up, and then he swept one for 6 over the other end, and like you could see these blokes being like, he's far too good for this. Like, what's he doing? Like, what is he doing here? And we were like, this is ridiculous. He is a gun, but also with that, he's so funny to be around. We obviously get stuck into him, and I think, like I said, he is very grounded, and he's probably not the most smartest up top, which probably does him a favour with it because he keeps the game so simple, and that's why he's so entertaining at times because we get stuck right into him and he gives it back. And yeah, he's a typical Brummy lad as well. I know when he floats around his Brummy mates, all of a sudden his accent changes and he gives it big ones being a Brummy. But yeah, he's a quality bloke.
Brilliant answer. We'll hope to see him in an England shirt one day soon. Now, who's the biggest influence on your career so far? Who's that been?
I think the biggest influence so far would be someone like Jason Kerr, my head coach at Somerset. He's obviously, he actually picked me up when I was a youngster on the academy. He's done a lot for me. He's had to give me a couple of sort of tough lessons growing up. I remember there was one on the academy where I was playing a lot of rugby. I came in injured, and I was trying to bowl and sort of trying to get away with the session. And I remember him coming in and giving me quite harsh words, saying that if you want to take it seriously, you've got to crack on. And things like that always stick with me quite well. And he's also always been there for me growing up. And I think he has certainly been a big influence on my career. And it was really nice actually going away with England Lions and him getting his recognition he deserved within the England setup. Obviously getting Somerset's head coach role, going through the academy, going through the second team, and then getting the head coach role, and then going on to England Lions, and fortunate enough actually being there. And I think a lot of players around the circuit actually realise what a good coach he is. He obviously played a little bit for Somerset. We played a lot, played 70-odd games, first-class games, and he was capped there. But I think he's certainly going to go on with his coaching role. He's actually picked up a lot of quality England players. There's Josh Butler he picked up, Leachy, both Overtons, myself, Lewis. So there's 6 already that he sort of scouted through the academy and brought them up. So I think he's been certainly the biggest coach on my career.
Fantastic. What's it like having Trescothick now in the backroom staff? Is that obviously transition from player to coach? Is that a good thing?
So yeah, it's always a good thing. Someone like Trez is such a good man. He's such a team man as well. And actually, we learned so much off him anyway. How he goes about it, and also he's seen a lot of things. So you can always chat to him and gain experience off him. Obviously, with the situation, me being away, I haven't had much to do with him coaching-wise yet. And I think that transition is going to probably be quite hard for some of the players as well, because I think when you go into that coaching role, you've also got to make sure, obviously, you're not teammates, and you've got to make sure you have that respect, which I think we all will do for him. But also, I think it shouldn't change any of our relationships, certainly once we're outside of that. But I think, again, he's going to be a quality coach. I know England have been tapping on the doors for him, and it's only a positive, really, for Somerset and English cricket.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, we are partnered with Opening Up, a cricket charity I'm sure you'll be familiar with. They have a couple of questions every week, but the first question is, how do you look after your mental health?
Yeah, wow, that's a great question, because actually I've certainly been through the highs and lows of it, and I in fact, at the end of this summer, I really struggled with my mental health, and I know I came out with that and was open to it, I think, last month within an interview, and I think for me it was understanding my situation. It's a hard one. I think the best thing I've ever done with it is obviously opening up.
Yeah.
I'm actually talking to people. I'm obviously very fortunate to have people like Trez in and around it, and I've got very close mates within the cricket environment that I can talk to. But certainly bottling that up wasn't the way forward for me, and I sort of found that problem coming along. But having the likes of Steve Davis in the changing rooms with Trez, and actually having Trez there and having him so open, and everyone knows the struggles he's been through and how open he's been, it gives you a lot of confidence. And I think Somerset in general, with that situation, we're always a very good county anyway. I think we've been a very good county with it. And I think English cricket have been really good with it. And with the psychologists you can get now, I think it's so crucial. But I know for me, chatting about it and making sure when it's okay not to be okay, and making sure that I actually chat to people, if that is my girlfriend, my housemate, my best mates outside of cricket as well, I think is really key, getting away from the game. So, yeah, I think it's a great question, actually, and I think it is really crucial.
Absolutely. And then they have followed up with a question saying, how hard was it to come out and speak about your troubles with mental health?
Yeah, I think it was really hard, but it was made a lot easier with the lads I had previously opened up to. I think I was playing Yorkshire, so obviously I was actually on loan to Yorkshire, and I was up and back and forth a lot last year, and obviously the international career was up and down, and no doubt it will be as well. But a lot of things got on top of me, and we were batting, and I sort of broke down to my psychologist there, like out of nowhere, really. And an hour went by, I was sort of offloading a lot of things, and before I knew it, it was 4 down. I had to get the pads on, and I was in this state where I was sort of bawling my eyes out, and I had my pads on, and everyone was, "Oh, where's Bessie?" So they didn't know where I was, but I was in the back room, like bawling my eyes out, and that was really challenging and really hard. And again, like I said, the coaching staff, everyone were made aware during that game, and it helped me just get through really that end of the season. And then having 5 weeks off was so crucial with it all, and getting away. Had a holiday with the lads actually, and then I had a holiday with my girlfriend, and just getting away in general was. I certainly came back to cricket refreshed and actually sorting situation and myself out with the help of other people to then really crack on and be motivated with the cricket. And then sort of it was a funny thing because look what happened within 3 months. I was sort of in Cape Town playing that, and that's the funny thing, how quickly it turns around and actually how quickly it can happen and change. And I think the main thing there is making sure you're okay mentally. I know that if I didn't have that experience before and actually opening up, I wouldn't have been able to go to South Africa. I wouldn't have been able to do what I did.
Yeah.
And that's really important.
Yeah, sure. And that's such a fantastic answer. I know it's so important for people like yourself who are in the mainstream and in the media for you guys to come out and be honest about how you feel. And it really does help people all around the cricketing circuit. We know that, opening up know that. So thanks for sharing that with us, mate. Now, we are going to wrap up shortly. We're going to ask the last 2 questions I've got lined up. If you have any more questions you'd like to ask Dom, fire them on the live stream now. If not, we will be calling it a day in 2 questions' time. Now, the next question: Who would you most likely to be? Who would you most like to isolate with in the England team while we're in lockdown?
I think I got asked. Like I would find Woody very funny. I reckon there's some videos that have gone out of him dancing. I know within the England group chat. I know Denner's actually asked him to do it, and he went viral with it.
Yeah.
He would certainly be out there, but also someone like Parky or Crawley I'd quite enjoy too as well. Obviously, I was really close with Parky. And yeah, we were probably attached to the hip at times. And I certainly got some stick from sort of Sibbers about it. But him and Crawley, I think, just make me laugh a lot. And it would probably be one of those 3. Yeah.
Good. Very good answer. Now, Becky Lewis has asked on the live stream, being a Somerset player, you must be a cider drinker. I'm a Thatcher's Gold fan. What's your favourite cider?
Yeah, it would probably be Thatcher's Haze, to be honest, which is a green one. We certainly do, when we do win, we do certainly get the ciders out down here. I even remember going to Yorkshire. We won a game up at Headingley, and Mick Cadmore, the dressing room attendant, Tom Kohler-Cadmore's dad, came in with a load of Budweisers and then came in with sort of a little crate of 6 for me, Thatcher's Gold, which I obviously gave him a big hug and was very appreciative of it. And it was quite funny because obviously all the lads were getting on it and I was on my Thatcher's.
Brilliant. What was your time like at Yorkshire? Did you enjoy that stint up north?
Yeah, it was great fun. Great group of lads. A little bit colder. It made me laugh. Obviously, you obviously hear about the club, how big the club is, and I never really realised how big and passionate the supporters are up there. And even walking out, I remember walking out first time at Headingley against against Hampshire, and I did all right. And then against it was against Essex, I got 90 odd, got stranded. And I sort of remember walking onto bat, and you could hear some mutters in the top left where all the old boys sit. You can sort of hear some grumbles and stuff, probably thinking, oh, why have they signed this bloke? And then, obviously, as I was walking off, I remember them just shouting, sign him up, Moxon, sign him up, get him in. It was so, like, it just made me laugh because, like, within an innings, they were all behind me. And I certainly enjoyed my time up there. It was amazing. The T20 time up there, we struggled, but the passion for the game up there, you'll know it is amazing. Great group of lads. It was great fun.
Brilliant. Now, Tiny, who is a Somerset fan, has asked, what's your favourite Wurzel's song?
Oh, it's got to be Blackbird, surely.
Has to be.
Yeah, our team song. It has to be.
Has to be. Absolutely brilliant. Bessie, thank you for coming on, mate. It's very, very kind. Have you got a message to the Barmy Army fans before we go?
Yeah, no, I hope everyone's well. I hope you're all keeping safe. No doubt in probably about 10, 15 minutes we'll be out there clapping for the NHS. But I know for a fact that hopefully we can get back out there. When we do, we'll see everyone at the grounds when everyone can get back, really. But I'm just wishing everyone a safe self-isolation, really.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on, mate. It's appreciated by everyone in the Barmy Army.
No worries.
We'll finish the live stream there. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay safe, and we'll see you next week.